Yeah, that's it. That's it. Just for the front page. When we get to it, and you know what? I'm gonna double check in my bag. I think I left it behind, but I might not have. No, I did not leave it behind. Good. I'm glad I checked that. All right, are we broadcasting? Hello. Welcome, everyone. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm still in a little bit of a post-high holiday confusion. We're on page 7 in the Green Book, because we're going to welcome Shabbat. This is the second paragraph second song on page 7, Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman, Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman, Meshochav Decha, El Retzonecha, Meshochav Decha, Yenanayna El Retzonecha, Yarutz Avdecha Kemoya, Ishtachavel Mul, Yenanayna El Mul Aderecha, Yarutz Avdecha Kemoya, Ishtachavel Mul, Yenanayna El Mul Aderecha, Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman, Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman, Meshochav Decha, El Retzonecha, Meshochav Decha, Yenanayna El Retzonecha. Page 8. I'll sing the opening, and then we'll sing a niggin, and you can read some psalms while we're singing the niggin. Lechu neranena Adonai, Nariya letzur yisheinu, Nekadma fanav betoda, bizmirot nariya lo, ananayna, yananayna, 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 Page 9, the bottom. Let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice. This is appropriate it's appropriate for every Shabbat, but Shabbat Bereshit, where the Parsha is the creation of heavens and earth. So let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice. Yismechu hashamayim, hashamayim, yismechu ותגל הארץ, ישמחו השמיים, השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ, ירם הים, ירם הים, ירם הים, ומלואו, 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 ישמחו השמיים, השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ. Bottom of page 10. Bottom of 10. Bottom of 10. Last paragraph. So it's been a while since we've done this, right? Since we've done Kabbalat Shabbat. And I'm just here, I am just going through and singing it, right? You can sing along, you can read the Psalms, right? It's just getting into that Shabbat space. Page 12. In the first couple lines. Sing to Adonai with, here it's translated as a lyre. It's a kinor. We don't know what a kinor was. What? It's a banjolele, that's what it is. We'll hear the banjolele later. Zamru l'Adonai bechino, bechino ve'kol zimra. 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 Bottom of page 13. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu el har kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu el har kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו אל ההר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו אל ההר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. Everybody. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו אל הר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו אל הר קודשו. I'm going to drop it at 1 for this. If we read something on the bottom of the page and then I start doing the next thing and I don't announce the page number, chances are it's the top of the next page. 14. Oh, I'm not, wrong tune. La nai 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 ana nai 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 ana nai 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 yan nai 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 ana nai 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 yan nai 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 yan nai 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 da da nai 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 yana nai 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 na yana nai 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 na yana nai 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 na. That's a little bit low. Anybody want it higher? People want it higher? Sing higher? Or are you good with that key? You're like, I don't know. I'm not even singing. Let's do it here. I know you guys. Page 14, starting on the second line. Havul Adonai b'nei Elim, Havul Adonai kavod va'oz, Havul Adonai kevod shemo, Ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh. Repeat, behadrat kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod hirim Adonai, al mayim rabim, al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai be'akoach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim v'shaber Adonai et arzei halvanon, et arzei halvanon, vayar kidem kemo egel, Levanon v'Sirion כמו בן רעמים, כמו בן רעמים. כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש. כל אדוני יחולל איילות, יחולל איילות, מה יחשוף יערות והיכלו. כולו אומר כבוד, כולו אומר כבוד. אדוני למבול ישב וישב, אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן. אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום, את עמו בשלום. Page 16, Lecha Dodi. Are we ready to welcome Shabbat in? Have we gotten there? Have we prepared ourselves? Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Verse 1, Shahamor vezachor bedibur echad השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Verse 2, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Top of the next page, verse 5. התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, שדברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Let's do the last verse, which means we're going to stand up. We're going to face the door. Welcome Shabbat into our presence. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Come have a seat. Does Shabbat come in? Does it feel like Shabbat now? Let's sing a psalm for Shabbat on on the next page, 18. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלינה ולעלי גיון בחינו. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. We can keep going right where we left off before, right in the middle of that paragraph. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך רנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני מאוד, עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. The bottom, well, the indented paragraph. צדיק אתה מה יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו, עוד ינובון בשיבה, דשנים ורננים יהיו להגיד, כי ישע אדוני צורי צורי, ולא עוולה תעבור. That brings us to being ready to, there we go, page 24. Go into our regular service. All that was preparation up to there. I mean, we have on. You're not hearing me, or are we lighting candles? Do we have candles to light? Where are they? They're over there. Let's light candles before we do Baruch Hu. Would you like to light the candles? I usually set them up here, and they weren't here, but the table's over there now, so that makes a lot of sense. That's a perfect time to light the candles.
Yeah, whether me and the matches will get along is a whole nother story.
All right, let me know if you need a hand.
Okay. Nope, me and matches don't get along. Give me a lighter, please.
I don't have a lighter, but I can light you a match.
You light the match. Me and matches really don't get along.
While you do that, I'll do this. There we go. Get from under the wick. That works too. Got it. Nope.
Nope, apparently not.
You haven't said the blessing yet, so you can. Oh, it's still lit. Get from under the wick.
It apparently is not.
There we go. You got it. You got it. Done.
Now I just need.
I know, right? Schreiber stuff at Sivan Ladlikner. Amen. Yasher koach. Thank you. So here's the song where the words, and the moment will be on the Baruch Hu on page 24, but you don't need the words because they're very simple. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. When I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. When I call on the light of my soul, come home. Please rise in body or in spirit, page 24 of the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed. Please have a seat. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בדברו מעריב ערבים בחוכמה פותח שרים ובדונה משנה עתים. Top of page 27. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and seasons glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים. Page 28. אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, ועבדך ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, רבנו וקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה. ועבדך תשים ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. Please join me for the Shema on the following page, page 30. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem kevod malchuto leolam va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha uvechol nafshecha ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בהן עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Page 35 at the top. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, and that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promised land passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Mi chamocha, page 36. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי ודע אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Oh, yes. So we have this prayer that we only do in the evening. If it were the morning after Gaal Israel, we would be going right on into our, what are you looking for? Oh. That's the same words. I have them right here. Does anybody else, so we're going to do the Hashkivenu and one day together. I think I have one more set of words here if somebody needs. They're in the High Holiday Supplement.
I need to tune.
You go ahead.
And I need a tuner. And I'm only going to sing Hashkivenu in one day and not try and sing any of the rest of the lyrics. So you all have to sing the main part.
I thought I had another copy here, but I don't. I'll look over. Anybody else need the words for one day? You've got my chords here too, but yeah, it's the one on the front. It's the handouts. Either Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur, same handout. No, that's the Hashkivenu one day. It's.
If I screw up, just.
Yeah, well, I'm going to need to read it with you, so you're going to have to stand. Now we're sharing.
Good luck, because I scribbled them in.
That's okay, fine.
So we're over.
That's a banjolele. It's tuned like a ukulele, but it's built like a banjo. That's yeah, well, it needs yeah. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'amideinu malkeinu lechaim. Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I'm here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars and the children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. Hashkiveinu again. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'amideinu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'amideinu malkeinu lechaim. It's not about win or lose, 'cause we all lose when they feed on the souls of the innocent. Blood-drenched pavement, keep on moving though the waters stay raging. In this maze you can lose your way. Your way, it might drive you crazy, but don't let it faze you, no way. No way. 'Cause sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. 'Cause when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars and the children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day. One day, one day this all will change. Treat people the same. Stop with the violence, down with the hate. One day all will be free and proud to be under the same song, singing songs of freedom like Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'amideinu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'amideinu malkeinu lechaim. Thank you, Beth. And the Ginger Lily. And we're bottom of page 38. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeh sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. That's what we need. It's just what we need. Lots of ways. Page 40. Please rise, body and spirit. We'll do Vishamru and into the page 40, 40. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. And let's do the first 2 blessings of the Amidah, which is usually a silent Amidah, but I have the urge to do them together today. You're going to be on page 130, right? Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, Magen Avraham V'ezrat Sarah. Page 134, watch out, we are in winter as far as this page is concerned. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol ata rav lehoshia, mashiv haruach umorid hagashem, mechalkel chaim bechesed, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. You continue following the directions for Friday night. page 148, Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon לכל השלום, כי אתה הוא מלך אדון, לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם. Let's take this moment where we're feeling this echo of holiness to turn to page 175 and send our healing thoughts and prayers to people in need. מי שברך אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Some of the people we're thinking of in our community today: Joyce Fox, Wendy Kleinfaller, Roy Liederman, Roy Zalea Bat Rivka, Judy Freed, Marie Latendra, Jordan Montero, Jackson Schwartz, Ethel Backman, Judith Laro, Linda Artizone, Cynthia Bourget, Jason Moda, Lisa Bullman, David Gay, Robert Goldstein, Nadia Defov, Lisa Diaz, Elsie Diaz, Paula McDonald, Patricia Boyle, Mary McKenzie, Bill McKenzie, Sura Batlea, Chavadina Batsora, Jean Matulski, Shanvo Batlabel Vakela, Judy Ackerman, Aaron Curry, John Raymond and family, Rivka Pearl Bachana, Matt Siegel, Gabrielle Maya, Elliot Becker, Samantha Modest, Levana Yael Bat Avraham Avinu V'Sara Imenu, David Ben Aaron Patricia, Harav Avraham Yitzchak Yishmael Yam Ben Chanoch V'Chana, David Brownell, Robert Freisinger, Peter Freisinger, Elishira Yosefa Bakutel Avigail, Shelley Sherman Taylor, Herbert Hill, Stacy Taylor, Gail Chodner, Bill Walker, Carol Ann and Phil Soder, Susan and Paul Steinberg, Lois and Frank Barrow, Peg Smith, Tova Binyamina Bat Moshe Avraham, Lainey Carter, Chayla Bat Yitzchak Leib Halevi Vitsurienta, Hinda Bela Bat Moshe, Pat Gomez, Gershon ben Reb Chaim Aryeh Halevi V'Dvorah Chaya. Other names? Sheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. It's been quite a while since we've had a Friday evening, just a plain old Friday evening service, hasn't it? I was thinking, like, do I even remember how to do these? After all those high holidays. And we didn't read Torah, but I almost decided not to do a Friday night this month because I thought it would be too bad to miss the beginning of the Torah. But we did get those. Some of us were here on Tuesday night, and we got to read the beginning of the Torah then. And, you know, when we think about the beginning of the Torah, I don't know about you, but the entire service, every time we're talking about Shabbat and the seventh day, I'm thinking, oh, yeah, right, it's this week. This is the week where we read the 7 days of creation. There's a whole lot more in this parsha than the 7 days of creation, right? Because there's the 7 days of the creation, and then there's the whole garden story, right? Then there's like these weird little bits with like the Nephilim and the sons of gods having relations with the daughters of humans. These little tantalizing bits that seem to be from other creation stories. Some of them have other echoes, by the way, in Psalms. Their tradition has many creation stories. In fact, I would say that the entire preamble of the Torah, this parsha and next week, Noah, that's a creation story too, right? Right? How it was that the world was wiped out and then started over with one person. The Tower of Babel, however you want to pronounce it, that's also kind of a creation story. It's just why the world is the way it is. And the story that I found myself gravitating towards, of all those stories, was probably the most difficult one. I think I'm still where I was on Rosh Hashanah when I was thinking about how, the book of Genesis is a lot of examples of how not to behave and explorations of how we behave in painful ways as human beings. So I found myself gravitating to the story of Cain and Abel, right? So we know this story. Let's just sort of outline, right? Cain and Abel, the first children, right? Cain is the elder. Abel is the younger. Cain is a farmer. Abel is a shepherd. And they both bring sacrifices to God, right? The rabbis point out that Cain brought a sacrifice of grain while Abel brought a choice sacrifice from the flock, right? So one way or another, Abel's, the younger brother's sacrifice is acceptable to God, and for some reason, somehow Cain knows that his sacrifice is not accepted, right? And what happens? Cain kills Abel. And one of the interesting things by one of the genealogies, we've got several in these two parashot. We have several begats, lists of genealogies, right? We have the one with Methuselah who lives over 900 years, right? That's one that we might be more aware of at the end of this parsha. But in the next parsha, we actually have another genealogy in which it turns out that we are all descended from Cain. Not from Abel, but from Cain. Right, yeah. But there is a genealogy that goes from Cain to Noah, and we're all descended from Noah. So if we're following that version, right, what does it mean, right, that we're all descended from Cain, that there's something in Cain that's in all of us? And I was thinking, like, Cain and Abel, they're archetypes. And I was thinking, who dealt with archetypes? Anybody here know Jungian? Ever read Jung, the Jungian psychology? So I did a very, very cursory, because I've never actually studied Jung. But what does Jung have to say about Cain and Abel? Cain is our shadow self. We all have a shadow self. We all have a side of us, a dark side of us. And it's interesting, that's in Jewish tradition also. Those of you it's people here who've done who did the Kabbalah stuff that we did with the tree of life and the different emanations. Well, each of the Sfirot has a shadow side. So, for instance, the first one that we learned about Chesed, love. Chesed's shadow side is love's shadow side is infatuation, right, and grasping. All the things that the Buddha noticed is such a source of suffering, right? And the Gevura, discipline's shadow side, right, is power over, is the kind of violent power, right? And in fact, the Kabbalists and the Chassids like this term. When they refer to the evil in the world, they refer to the Sitra Achra, the other side. There is another aspect of reality that is the shadow aspect. There's the most fascinating verse. Does somebody have a Torah handy with an English translation? Chapter 4, verse 7. Here we go. Let's see how Hertz translates this verse. It's a very odd verse, and it's kind of untranslatable. And this is, right, so God did not pay attention to Cain and his sacrifice, and Cain was very upset, and his face fell. Right? The commentators say he looked down in shame, right? And God says to Cain, "Why are you?" This is based on the old 17th century English translations. "Why art thou wroth, and why is thou countenance fallen?" Okay, I'll read you this version of it. "If thou dost well, shall it not be lifted up? And if thou dost not well, sin coucheth at the door, and unto thee is its desire, but thou mayest rule over it." Let's try that again, right? If you do well, if with goodness sit, something will rise up. Perhaps it's a sacrifice. Perhaps it's things will go well. And if you will not do well, ve'im lo tetiv lefetach chatat rovetz. At the opening, sin is crouching at the opening. And there's that amazing line, ve'elechak teshukato. Its desire, the desire of chata, of the sin, its desire is towards you. And but then there's this interesting line, ve'atatim sholbo, and you will master it, or perhaps you may master it. It's in the incomplete aspect. It's a thing that biblical Hebrew has. Doesn't really have future and past tense. It has a completed aspect and an incomplete aspect. Incomplete aspect is generally the future, timshol, but it's not a prophecy. It's not a done deal. It would have a vav. It would be umashaltabo. That would be you did. But it's no, it's vatimshol. You could, you might. So in the Jewish tradition, that's Yetzer Hara, the evil impulse. That we all have a Yetzer Hatov, a good impulse, and an Yetzer Hara, an evil impulse. It's part of being human, right? So we get back here to the young thing. Like we all have the shadow side, the urge to do something. There's a famous midrash, I don't know, do you know this one? About when they captured the Yetzer Hara? The rabbis managed to capture the Yetzer Hara, the evil urge. They captured it, and they sealed it up. And then nothing happened. Chickens didn't lay eggs. Nothing generated, right? Now they identify the evil impulse and the necessary to channel it with procreation, right? With sexuality, right? Very scary. But think about Gevura, think about power, right? Think about next week's story about the Tower of Babel, right? The capacity of the people to build a great edifice with its head in the heavens, right? That's not all bad. They kind of went overboard in some way, right? Maybe it was hubris, maybe it was challenging God, maybe it was midrashim. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. But you can see that urge to do that people have is not all bad. But it can go bad, right? And we see that in the world all over the place, right? The challenge of being a politician, right? The politicians, in some ways, the politician comes from an urge to serve, right? And in some ways, it comes from an urge to power. And it's very easy for us to say that the politicians we like are trying to do good things. The politicians we don't like are there to do bad things. But there are dangers, right, with this urge, and yet we need it in the world.
I think a good quote from someone ever seen Hunt for Red October. The line where the guy goes, "I'm a politician, which means I'm a cheat and a liar. When I'm not kissing babies, I'm stealing their lollipops. But it also means I keep my options open."
Right, yeah. Yeah, right. So I remember this back from the 90s. Remember when Gorbachev was in charge of the Soviet Union and he was opening things up and we were like, is this for real? You know, and I remember somebody said, oh, he got to the top of a very, very corrupt system. I can't believe he's a good person, right? It turned out that he did open it up to the point where he actually lost control, right? Do we know, was he a good person or was he just trying to keep himself above water? You know, it's hard to know, right? And so when you get to that level of power, it's hard to know what's in charge, right? There's so much of this yetzer. There's so much of this energy. We don't know if it's the shadow or the or not that's in control. And there's a challenge. So there's a challenge for us, and there's a challenge for other people, and something that we can also. You imagine other people are probably also struggling with that sometimes, right? What I think these texts are inviting us to do, I think these texts are inviting us to notice this, to recognize this. And I think the most dangerous place is when a person doesn't recognize they have this capacity. If you don't recognize that you have a dark side, right? That you have a shadow self. And you say, who, me? No, I'm all good, especially if you are going for power, if you do have power over other people, you do have power to influence things. If you don't recognize that shadow side, that's a danger, right? But I think it's a danger for us too. When we notice, especially when we have power over people, we're talking about parenting and the challenge of parenting over dinner, right? And where does our urge to like enforce the curfew and things like that come on our kids, on the people? You know, if you're a boss, you know, is that from an urge to be in control, which comes from a place of wanting to be safe too, by the way, of be in control, right? But when is there a shadow thing? I think that these texts are inviting us to pay attention to this. They're not telling us that this is how you should behave, right? Obviously, with Cain, they're not telling us that this is how you should behave. With God listening to, like, what horrible parenting is that? I'm going to recognize I'm going to celebrate the younger sibling, and I'm going to ignore the older sibling. Has that ever happened to people? What do you think? Right? It's an example of, it's an exploration of the things and the world and how it is, and a warning and an invitation for us to pay attention to that, and to be careful. You know, there was yes. You have some control issues, I think. I have the sense here. There was this is a total non sequitur which we'll close on. But just what your Sid made me think of. My aunt used to run a sheet music store for classical musicians, and so there were a bunch of New Yorker cartoons about concert music. There's like, you know, the view from a box of an opera, right? And there's the stage, and the candelabra has fallen, and there's, like, you know, a woman draped over thing, and a man in utter despair. It's obviously the end of a tragedy, and the woman's telling her husband, just think, with a little bit of professional help, all of this could have been avoided. I don't know if there are any therapists in the room, but we can't always avoid it, right? Yeah, but we can do our best. And with that, I'd like to invite us to go into Aleinu, right? And maybe some of the words will resonate, will hit a little differently. You know, the Kabbalistic idea of creation, within the Kabbalistic ideas of creation, not the Sephirot, but the other one, is this the idea that that the world basically is not complete, right? And the world was undifferentiated goodness. It was just God. God had to withdraw to make room for us to exist, right? But in that process, some imperfections came in. That sitra achra, that other side. And it's our job is to heal that. That's what we're supposed to do. So, yeah, Aleinu. It is incumbent upon us. That's what Aleinu means. Page 187. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gdula leotzer breshit, shehu את השמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. Top of page 189. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו shemo echad. We turn our attention now to those who are no longer with us. Page 193, the Mourner's Kaddish. And this week, we are remembering the yahrzeits, the anniversaries of the deaths of Walter Estner, Louis Ashkenazi, Charles R. Peel, Sarah Foreman, J. Myron Kreiderman, Minnie Weinberg, Bessie Frank, Beatrice Bernstein, Abraham Knopf, Barry Carter, and is it Louis or Lois? Lois Carter? And Sarah Jane Marland. Next week. Mourner's Kaddish, page 193. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divrei kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chayei dechol bet Yisrael, ba'agala uv'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'it hadar v'it ale v'it halal shmei dekudesha brichu le'ela min kol birachata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yisrael tevel v'imru. Amen. Let's have a seat and let's have announcements. And just so you're prepared, we're going to be turning back and ending with Shalom Aleichem, which is on page 20. But first, let's hear what's going on in our community.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Tomorrow we have religious school at 9:30.
Not tomorrow, Sunday.
I mean Sunday.
Yes.
Sunday.
I got worried there for a moment.
Sunday, the 19th. And it's Shalom Kids, and then at 11:30 we have a sisterhood meeting. Rosh Chodesh is on Wednesday the 22nd. And
It is Cheshvan, the 1 month that does not have holidays.
4 o'clock is religious school. On Friday, we have book club at 2:30. The book is Friends. And then next Shabbat, we have services at 9:30 and class after Kiddush. Shabbat Shalom.
All right. Shalom Aleichem on page 20. Pretty soon we'll start learning some new tunes to Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, by the way, for those of you who are not confident with your Hebrew letter reading and want to get better, Shalom Aleichem is the prayer to read in Hebrew because each verse is the same except for the first word or two. And so you get a lot of practice on the same words. I'm going to be teaching a class in basic Hebrew reading, and the first whole bunch of time is learning to read Shalom Aleichem. So if that's something you'd like to be able to do, well, get started soon. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Shabbat Shalom. And we'll go downstairs and goodbye to people at home, and we're going to go downstairs and complete our observance of Shabbat by eating some food together.